Live. We are live. Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez pre-show. 1 minute pre-show. Live pre-show. Do you want to share your late reason here on the pre-show, or do you want to wait for the real show?
I think it's Sixers enough related that it should probably be in the real show. But I will share that I'm drinking a beer.
Ah, look at that. Wow.
One solitary beer. That's all you need. I'll drink it with two hands to get all of the taste of it.
We do have one solitary beer news coming up soon.
We do.
Yeah. I don't want to. But
the real heads know generally what we're talking about anyway.
Generally, yeah, but I think well, whatever. We do have some of that news coming, so that'll be soon. Another 10 seconds. I will tell you. Here's a preview for everybody. Here's early. Somebody cut up all of the audio of every time we said soup on the last episode and sent it to us. It was a lot of times. Welcome to the Rights. Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. No. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Brought to you by our friends at Seat Geek. Get $20 off your first order by using code RTRS. Body Bio supplements for a healthier life. Get 20% off any order at bodybio.com with the code RTRS20. Big Barker. Get your Big Barker dog bed with the processed pup patches at bigbarker.com/Ricky. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter, statesidevodka.com. On today's show, the Sixers, or a reasonable facsimile of the Sixers, played basketball, and we will talk about that. They'll play basketball again on Thursday. No Embiid, no Tobias Harris, no Ben Simmons. Speaking of Ben Simmons, the Ben Simmons camp is surprised at how much the fines were for not coming to work. We will talk about that later. You have one more day. What's that? War. Big time war.
Update from the war front.
An update from the front lines. We have one more day to vote on which Rights Ricky Sanchez t-shirt we will reprint. We'll get to that a little bit later, but there's about 4 or 5 ones that seem like they're in the lead. And I think that's all we got. And without any further ado, the war on drugs.
Lying in my bed, a creature void of form, been so afraid of everything, I need a chance to be reborn.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I am Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is imagining enjoying a sport in Philadelphia, one Mike Levin.
Hello.
That was we're not using our normal intro music from our friend Amos Lee. For the next month or so, we will be using intro music from our friends. Well, we only have one friend, Dave Hartley, but our friends in the War on Drugs, who have a brand new, who are as critically acclaimed as you could possibly be, who have a new album called I Don't Live Here Anymore, coming out October 29th. Intro song is I Don't Live Here Anymore. We're using a different one for the outro song. You can pre-order at thewarondrugs.net. You can get the vinyl. You can get a little merch. And I think we're going to have Adam and Dave on for an interview at some point when the record comes out. And we'll have some tickets to give away for their Met show. So you could pre-save the album. I think people do that on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. So October 29th. The
rare band that both you and I like very much.
Yeah. There is a short list of those bands. Maybe an off-season pod. Who knows? Maybe a November pod. You never know.
Yeah, it could be starving for any good news.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. So thank you, the War on Drugs. That's a cool thing to do. We've never done that before. I mean, obviously we've had Amos on a bunch. We had him when his record came out, but like the lead up celebration is neat. So the Sixers played a game on Monday night against the Raptors. Joel Embiid didn't play. Tobias Harris didn't play. And, of course, Ben Simmons didn't play. I had some takes from the game. I'm sure you had some takes. I would say the one I want to lead with, my lead take, is this is the first time I've ever noticed him playing basketball, like watched him. And George Niang is slow as shit. I mean, that guy is like fucking like he runs in molasses. He is really slow, like very plodding. So that was my first thing. It's like, wow, that motherfucker's pretty slow. I know you
Yeah.
said he was slow, but he's fucking really slow.
Definitely slow. He tried to put the ball on the ground a lot more, handling, creating a little bit, especially without Tobias or Ben or anybody. I think he was always capable of doing that. And with the Jazz, it was really just like stand there, the very regimented offense over there in Utah. And so I think he's trying to do some other stuff. I don't think it went super well in this game. Toronto played with an aggressiveness and ferocity that the Sixers just couldn't really replicate or keep up with, and didn't have the ball handlers or creators or physicality to respond to. It wasn't a good game.
No.
It didn't make me feel good.
No.
I wasn't happy to see it,
watching
it.
Do
you think?
Go ahead.
No, you say yours. Mine's going to lead us down a dark path.
I really had to keep reminding myself, Embiid's not in there. Harris is not in there. It's just the preseason. But I kept watching it being like, man, but they look fucking terrible. Like that was I kept bouncing back and forth between those.
Yeah, real bad.
Yeah.
What do you think people think when they listen to this podcast?
Yeah.
And there are people, we get these notes all the time about people that are fans of a different team.
Yes.
That listen to this, a different NBA team that listen to this podcast and go like, oh, I actually think you guys are, interesting or compelling or whatever the fuck. And I just wonder, like, they get a notification on their phone. Hey, another Ricky's up. I'll tune in. I'll listen to something else first, and then like I'll get to this. It's probably not their first thing that they're listening to the second they get it, but they get the notification like, okay, cool. I'll listen to that in the next couple days. Mm-hmm. And then they listen to it expecting what? Like in my mind, they're expecting, oh, let's watch these people like continue to disintegrate.
Like you understand why a Celtics fan would listen after a big loss from like that. You get, I wouldn't do it, but that computes.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, not even I'm using non-Sixers fans as an example, but also Sixers fans. Like maybe Sixers fans, it's like they feel how I feel, maybe is what they're thinking, or at least have not agreeing about everything, but having like a sense of like, all right, these idiots care about the team, and they're at least one of them is mentally unwell about it. But like as you're jumping in, it's like, why? It just feels like we keep doing it. It feels we're still doing it in a way that is just like, it's not going to be a good season. It isn't. It's not going to be a good season at all. I'm going to get excited about the young guys. I'm going to get excited about development. I'm going to get excited about a couple things, and I'll probably at some point be optimistic about something because I have to be otherwise it's just torture. I have to whip back and forth a little bit. If I'm just fourth, then we're in trouble.
Do you really want to know why? Because I can give you the answer why. I mean, we've had this conversation a little bit, but like I'll say it like this. I'll use a metaphor. I like using metaphors. A metaphor about like meeting a friend. Like usually when you get a new friend, you and that friend bond over one particular thing. Oh, we both like this band, or and then as time goes on, that thing, while it is still part of your relationship, becomes only part of your relationship. I think that people, the long-termers, the people that have been here for a while, like we're just friendly voices who they know, and we are going through things and they can relate to things. And I think I have always thought, though, while the topic of the podcast is the Sixers, that what the show is actually about is about us as fans of a basketball team and getting older and all of those things. So like, I think I don't really think they come. I think we're actually probably better than we give ourselves credit for at talking about the team. But like at this point, I think they just listen because that's what they do.
Yeah, that's probably it. I was more thinking like, what are they? we're like, again, Mike's breaking down. Like Mike is really having a tough time. I feel like there's text threads of people that listen to this podcast that are like, Mike didn't sound good today. Like Mike's in trouble, man. We gotta. Someone reach out? Should someone check on Mike? Like, just make sure he's okay. Like somebody's help him out. Maybe send him like a video of Furkan like smiling or something. Although there was a great Korkmaz video that Lauren Rosen posted from the Sixers account of Korkmaz doing the interview as if he's interviewing himself, and that pulled me up a little bit. That got me back. And he's obviously, we've been so fortunate to have two delightful Eastern Europeans with a loose grasp of the language just be absolute winners. Just what a treasures Dario and Furkan have been. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Well, CJ and I were talking before you got on. Speaking of like, is Mike okay? Most of the angry comments through the years, or I had to stop listening, or that take was so crazy, or oh, the guy's full of shit, is like always about me 99.9% of the time. The last pod was when I think people kind of are feeling you breaking when you went into your like sort of it could have worked dissension into madness. And it was the first time that I saw a bunch of comments that were like what the fuck is Mike on right now? Like it's always about me 100% of the time. So I do think there are probably people having conversations about your well-being. And that's a good thing. They care. Care.
I don't think that's full of shit, by the way. We don't have to get into it again, but I do think they're still young enough. And Ben was out all of the previous season. There haven't been that. It feels like it's been a decade, but it really was 3 playoff runs.
Don't want to do it. Don't want to do it.
It could have worked. It could have worked. And it should have worked.
Did you see Shake? Okay, I would say if I had to pick one player that I was specifically disheartened by in the preseason game, Shake looked exactly the same to me on offense. Like, didn't look like he had a plan on offense a lot of the time. Just sort of drives into the lane and what do I do here? And just consistently doesn't look like he's in the flow of what they're doing, or isn't just like straight up taking over like you would expect some scorer guy to do. That was, if I was most disappointed in anybody, it was how Shake looked.
I agree. It's preseason, so
that
caveat exists, but definitely looked like he was like pick a elite penetrator who just magically make them like 46 years old. And that's what Shake looked like. Just the guys like he used to have the burst and speed and verticality and everything. And all of a sudden his legs now he's 46. And so he can't do that anymore. But he doesn't realize that he's 46. Like that's what it looked like watching him in this particular game. I don't think it always looks like that, but he definitely was driving in with limited burst and limited like it didn't seem like he knew his own game. Like it seemed like he was driving in going like, I can score over these people. And it's like, bro, that's not what you do. Like it didn't seem like he was adjusting for himself. And so that was troublesome. I do think he, I know I paid attention to this more because he talked about it, but it did seem like he was getting down in a stance more and really taking his defense seriously, which is obviously something that I like. But yeah, the offense is going to be tough. And I think he's going to get back to 40% from 3. I think that's going to be fine, but it would be nice to know, like, what do you do with the ball in your hands as like either point guard for the second unit or secondary ball handler with some of the starters or whatever it is. Like what does it look like? He's long, he's got nice touch, and he can handle, but there doesn't seem to be like a bevy of moves there. And I would like him to come up with them.
Feels like he fucking lost it at some point. Like he just, I almost want to go back and watch the Clipper game to see what it looks like when he has it, because at some point it feels like he just fucking lost it. I don't know. Maxey had a couple of nice drives, but I didn't think overall he showed much of anything different. He seemed, I didn't take anything really positive or negative out of Maxey that night, which was, I think we want to see him with Joel, and without Joel is like, Who knows? But
yeah, there looked to me, he looked nervous to me. He looked very unsure of himself, with the exception of a couple times where he just like went and finished really strongly through contact or whatever it is. It seemed like, and I'm predisposed to be concerned about this because we've seen it happen to a half dozen guys since this podcast started. But like Doc is in his head about like what you're supposed to be, and he's acting like he's Rondo or something, and this is how you're supposed to handle yourself. And now Max is out there like thinking too much. And what happens then? We've seen it. We've seen when people start thinking.
It's not good.
It's not good. It gets concerning. Yeah. So I was watching for that, and it seemed like he was doing that. Hopefully, again, preseason game, figuring out a new spot, running with the starters, like having to set the table for a lot of guys, whatever it is. But I don't fuck him up, Doc. He's such like a good player. He's such a nice, chipper kid. Please don't ruin him. Come on.
Make him a low post center.
Yeah.
Gage's daughter or something. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by our friends at Seat Geek. Mike, I have a question for you. Has your butt been having enough fun lately?
So much fun. Too much fun.
So much fun. Ooh, butt fun with Mike. It's time to start using Seat Geek. It's the only ticket app you need. I was looking at it just today. Can you see it on my phone there, Seat Geek? I was looking at it because Survivor Series is coming to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, right near JJ Redick's house. And right now, using SeatGeek, you can see that you can find tickets, an amazing deal, $31 gets you into Survivor Series at Barclays Center. That's fucking great. And I know that that is a 9.5 score, which is an amazing deal. SeatGeek is the only ticket app you need because it takes all the other ticket sites and it puts them into one and tells you if it's a good deal or not. I mean, it's very simple what it does. And if you've ever, sometimes when you Google an event, the first 5 things that you see on Google, like the ticket places, you're like, what the fuck ticket place is that? Then you get to the website, you don't know how much the fees are, you don't know if it's a good deal. SeatGeek, just use SeatGeek. Sports, concerts, comedy, whatever. SeatGeek, wrestling, SeatGeek. I'm telling you, that's where you want to go. So there's.
Did I tell you? Did I say I used SeatGeek for when I went to the Sparks game a couple weeks ago?
No,
I did.
You did? Yeah,
I did, and it was great. Very easy. Couldn't have been easier.
It tells you if it's a good deal by using a 1 to 10 scoring system. And it also uses a color scoring system. Scroll through, look for green. Don't look for red. I'm telling you, just fucking download the app or go to the website. That's where you get all your tickets. You get $20 off your first purchase by using code RTRS at SeatGeek.com. There's concerts now. There's sporting events now. Just go to SeatGeek. Code RTRS. You get $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Download the app or go to SeatGeek.com. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat. Make your butt have fun like Mike's butt. SeatGeek. Drummond had quite a half, but so I didn't watch the game when it was live. I watched it. I actually watched it earlier today. And you look at the stats and you're like, great. And then you watch it and he's just normal, plodding old fucking Andre Drummond. Nothing really exciting by watching it. Really.
Chaos. Just chaos. Like
total chaos.
Trying to do stuff, making weird passes for no reason, thinking he's the focal point of the offense. I like if I can go into the AI settings of the Andre Drummond video game and adjust everything.
Yep.
To you could make a thing that would work. Like you could get it to be like if on one side it's like Dwight Howard.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, it's like Joel Embiid, like what he's trying to do. I would put it just a little bit off of Dwight Howard toward Embiid, just like a little bit. Like the fact that he can bully a smaller guy in the post and get a bucket is good. That is helpful for a second unit that will occasionally need that when Embiid's on the court. That's good. Dwight couldn't do that at this point. When Dwight tried to do anything, it failed miserably. But Drummond has some of those skills in a contained, small, padded cell environment in that area. Nice and not too far. But when he starts then going I can kind of be Karl Anthony Towns out here. I'm actually a little bit like Nikola Jokic, the original Jokic. Then it gets to be a massive problem. The
original Jokic.
Yeah, Drummond thinks that he's that maybe.
The first Jokic. Okay, I thought. Yeah. Okay, I didn't understand.
So Yeah, I mean, I think like there is some shot blocking promise. There is obviously some rebounding situation. There is a lot of offensive rebounding and putback. Like if we could just like sort of contain it, just like everybody just don't let him go too far. I don't think he's going to do as much dumb shit, random fouls that Dwight did, but he'll be a different thing where he's trying to impersonate like a 6'2" guard. But he's just he's so big and stumbly all the time that it's rarely going to work. But I do think that if we can just pack it in, like he was talking about how nice it is that Doc believes in him, to have a coach that like believes in him. And it's like,
I wish he didn't, honestly.
Believe in him a little less, like a little bit. It seems like Doc believes in the veterans, and this is just like a case of like, it's what Joe Girardi did. It's like the case of a veteran coach that's been at multiple stops. When you're just like, I just want a guy who I recognize and has played for a bunch of people and knows my references when I talk about guys from 10 years ago. And I feel like that's like all veteran coaches want that. And even though like Drummond and fucking Odubel Herrera and all those guys, like they fuck up in plenty of ways, but because they're veterans, then it's like, well, that's acceptable. And young guys aren't allowed to fuck up in those ways because it's like, these fucking young guys got too many of them, and get them out of here. I'm trying to win a championship. And it's just like, but he's fucking up. He's doing all the crazy shit that you don't think that the young guy should be allowed to do. Like B-Ball Paul is chaos, like absolute, like out of his mind on the court, trying to do stuff, getting into an altercation almost every play. Like there's shoving, and it's great. And he's getting his hands in there, and I love it. And he needs to also, as he gets to be a playable NBA player, like contain it, controlled chaos. But he's not going to be allowed to make those mistakes because he's like a young guy. Whereas Drummond like was good 6 years ago and like has heard of like Jamal McGlure. So Doc's going to be like, play that guy. I'm playing that fucking guy because that's my vet. And it's just it's baffling to me.
I'm sort of just going to drift off to you on this episode. By the way, we're doing the pod live, so we get comments. We get comments on YouTube and Twitch. We do it live like every Wednesday night. Sometimes on Saturdays it's live on YouTube and Twitch. There's a comment that says, "I warned y'all about Drummond. He thinks he's better than Embiid." Like who are you warning, man? Like I had a fucking meltdown when they signed Drummond. Like everyone's mad at me.
They signed him for the league minimum, the least anyone could possibly sign him for.
And he's still
I think the league knows that they're aware of. No one needs to be like, hang on, this guy might actually not be as good.
Ferk had a couple of nice takes, had the alley-oop. The stat line didn't look great, but Ferk looked pretty good, I guess. And Seth Curry is the best creator on the team, which is terrifying. The best perimeter creator is Seth Curry, I think. So, and Isaiah Joe got some runs. That was good. I don't even know what the fuck else to talk about in this game.
Isaiah Joe's the man. I love Isaiah Joe. He's got to get minutes. He's got to play. And it's going to happen because somebody will get hurt for a little bit and he's easily the next man up, kind of no matter who goes down. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to see that. He's awesome. Definitely a playable guy. Don't want to like him to be the just out of the rotation guy for 3 years and then his contract expires and he's like, I didn't get to play on this fucking team. I'm going to go somewhere else. And him to be like a very playable player. I want to like let's get ahead of that. Let's get ahead of that situation. So he should definitely get in there. He's good and he can shoot from range and he can handle a little bit. It's very nice. Very upset that Grant Riller tore his meniscus.
Yeah, that sucks. But
did you this was the first time presumably that you watched much Grant Riller tape
at all.
And you watched it live.
Yeah, but the thing is that like there's a lot of people that come back from meniscus tears in like 6 weeks. Like
for sure.
I mean, and he's gonna have surgery, and then they said they'd evaluate him in 2 weeks, so he could be back pretty soon.
And it makes him a true Sixer to tear your meniscus. Yes. The first moment you're wearing a Sixers jersey. What did you think of watching him on the court? He's good. Like he's just good.
Yeah, I thought he looked like a real guard that could play.
Yeah,
that was my very short, like for an overall game that sucked. Looking at him, he looked like a real guard that could play.
Yeah, has a great amount of burst, really crafty finisher inside, like gets to the rim like crazy. There was a lot of him just kind of standing around while other guys were sucking when he was playing with the more rosterable guys, which bummed me out. And I just wanted, especially when Shake was just kind of just walking into players, I wanted to be like, just give it to Riller and you can just space the court because he's a better initiator by a lot at this point. But the meniscus is a real bummer. And the reason I'm late, and gets into it.
Did you also tear your meniscus?
No, I didn't. But Alyssa broke her foot.
Oh no!
Playing basketball with my family, and when we were on the phone with, we're hearing from the podiatrist, it is either an avulsion fracture or a Jones fracture.
Oh
which
boy!
Obviously, as Sixers fans, we're very familiar with. So
yeah,
it's really just too. And then I saw on Twitter that Derek Bodner also broke his foot and has an avulsion fracture. Yep.
No way.
Playing basketball. Yeah. Alyssa landed on. My fiance landed on my dad's foot going up for a rebound and went down.
The landing on the foot is never is undefeated. Well,
yeah. So this is it, man. Sean Long out there catching more bodies, just breaking people's feet left and right. My dad, anybody, Bodner, whoever injured Bodner, we're falling apart out here. It's not going to be a good season. It's going to be a bad season. But
does that mean I have to say it's going to be a good season? I don't know what to do when you're going to.
You can take that. We can look. I mean, AU had an article just being like, it's nice that it's actually not going to be as much pressure. It's stressful, and maybe you can just like take a step back a little bit and enjoy what will be, and then maybe there's a retooling next year.
Well,
I don't know.
We're
in rough shape.
Two things. First, I told AU earlier this week, I think I love all of our writers, Michael Connor, Andrew Underberger, Sixers Adam. I do think Andrew Underberger sort of won our off season. If there was a competition of our writers of who did the best. And when nobody knows what
employee of the month award. I didn't even realize we have one. Spike just gave it to
when
I lost, I guess apparently I don't get them. I'm not even ranked. CJ's not in there.
You don't write.
Nobody were given. There was not. This was not a consent. We didn't get to vote on this, and we're just giving it to Unterberger. I'm gonna revolt. Me and Zoe and Michael Connor and Sixers Adam are revolting.
I think AU is the most emotional of our writers, and when you're going through a time, he seems to capture not just on this thing, but like finds the things to write about that I wouldn't have thought to write about, like the one that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago where he was like, hey, everyone, Andre Drummond's on the fucking Sixers. I don't know if you forgot about that, but he's on the Sixers. It was just only AU has that sort of amazing, touch. So, so before we get to Ben Simmons, I want to talk about Big Barker, but I was going to give I'm living in a new suburb, and I'm often frustrated watching people walk their dogs. And I want to ask you if it's okay if I give the 5 rules of walking your dog before I do Big Barker dog beds. Is that okay?
Great.
Okay. Number 1, you must have a leash. Anyone who walks their dog without a leash is just trying to prove that their dog is smart, but you're putting your dog in danger. It's still a fucking dog. A car could come, like another fucking crazy dog could come. You got to have your dog on a leash. That's 1. Number 2, the leash must be not be retractable. No retractable leashes. They are ineffective. There's no need to have your dog like 8 feet away from you and then zip it up and make it 1 foot away from you. It never needed to be 8 feet away from you in the first place. They don't work all the time. Google it. Okay. Number 3, you must have a firm grip on the leash. This is something that happened to me. I got bit like a month ago. At all times, you got to be paying attention, have a firm grip on the leash. Number 4, don't sit there staring at your phone while you're walking your dog. You got to be aware. Your dog could see something you don't. You're not paying attention. Again, this is thinking about the dog. Stop staring at your fucking phone for like 10 minutes that you walk your dog. And number 5, clean up after your dog. The dog poops. Don't leave it there. I see poop on the sidewalk or on the grass. It's like, do not leave the poop there. Big Barker Dog Beds, longtime sponsor of the Ricky. And 6, when you bring your dog back from the walk, they got to have a Big Barker to sleep on. BigBarker.com/Ricky. BigBarker.com/Ricky. The only real dog bed on the market. real dog bed. What's that? Well, it's the difference between what you get at the pet store for $50. You bring it home, $40. It looks all plush, looks like a big pillow. Who wants to sleep on a pillow? It's not comfortable. It's not supportive. It's not good. It's not healthy. You got to get a Big Barker therapeutic dog beds. Congratulations to our very own Sean O'Connor, who invented the lottery party, and I stole it from him, adopted a pit bull. Good on you, Sean, and bought her a Big Barker right away. Thank you, Sean. Go to bigbarker.com/Ricky. You get the Big Barker dog bed with 2 processed pup patches, so you can make your dog an official processed pup, just like Sean's dog is an official processed pup. Like I say healthy, I want you to go look at the pictures. Your dog needs to be supported when you sleep. How you sleep really, really matters. You sleep the wrong way, you sleep on a bad mattress at an Airbnb somewhere, you can feel that. Your dog can feel it too. bigbarker.com/Ricky. You might be like, it's $200, too expensive. Well, there's a 10-year warranty. It's basically the only dog bed you're ever going to need. If the foam doesn't flatten her, they replace it for free. 1 year at-home trial. If you don't like it, they'll give you a full refund. They'll even pay for the shipping. Handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds. So, you ready for the Ben Simmons update of the week, Mike?
Of the Simmons? Week? I think week is selling it short. I think
of the day? Ben Simmons
every other day.
Of the day?
Yeah.
All right. Kyle Neubeck comes as everybody's getting scoops. Not that Kyle Neubeck is everybody, but you know. PhillyVoice.com. This is from Kyle Neubeck. Despite assurances through various media members of note, a league source says the financial significance of holding out is starting to take hold in Ben Simmons' camp. After being fined for missing Philadelphia's preseason loss to the Toronto Raptors on Monday night, a penalty of roughly $360,000, Simmons' representation had another discussion with the Players Association in which it was reiterated they would be unable to recoup the money being deducted from the $8.25 million sitting in escrow, sources say. And it was communicated to the Sixers that these early fines were perhaps higher than they expected. Mike, can I ask you something? If you get paid for going to work and you don't go to work, and then you don't get paid for going to work, is that a fine? Or is it just you didn't go to work and you don't get paid for it? It doesn't even seem like a fucking fine to me. He didn't go to work. Like he didn't come to work.
I don't care what you call it.
More than I expected.
Training my men for battle. We leave at dawn on the army, on the sands of $8.25 million beach. I don't know. This. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
A source familiar with the conversations between Simmons' camp and the Sixers told Philly Voice that the only this is the fucking best thing. Kyle, thank you. Can I just stop for a second? Kyle, thank you for getting this nugget. Thank you. Because throughout all this Ben Simmons thing, there's been a lot of funny things. There's been a lot of irritating things. But this one is definitely the funniest fucking thing I've read. So if you're not following Kyle Neubeck, go follow him. He doesn't even have a broken foot. A source familiar with the conversations between Simmons' camp and the Sixers told Philly Voice that the only consistent or clear message this offseason was about the accelerated timeline Simmons has been evaluated on compared to other number 1 overall picks. In most instances, agent Rich Paul and others have pointed out, top picks are sent to bad teams where they can figure out who they are and how their career is going to play out. Having missed his first year of LSU due to injury, Simmons joined Embiid to form a partnership capable of winning 50 games right away, and the Sixers have been considered contenders at various points during the last 3 seasons, increasing scrutiny on his development. So, Mike,
it is true that the Sixers were immediately good once Ben Simmons started playing. Because of him and Embiid together and the team that they had around them, that was like that is factually true. But that is absolutely not an excuse for not improving in the half court in the offseason, or B, like wanting out. Yeah. That's not a reason to leave. We're too good. Officially too good. Several people sent the shirt to me, the too good shirt.
Yeah.
That's the excuse. It really is just like there's a phrase that I'm not going to say correctly, but it's like an excuse. It's like validation in search of something, whatever it is. Like they want to leave. He wants to leave. He wants to get out of there. And now they're just backing into whatever rationale they have for it. Really, like they're upset that he was going to trade him for Harden. They're upset that they didn't surround him with enough, a stretch five outside of Joel for a long time. And it got ugly. It's got mean. And then not too long. And then the Hawks series sucked. And now he wants to go. And they want to leave and they want to do it. So they're just like making shit up. They're saying like he wants to be like this, or they're like it's actually better if he was on a worse team. Like this is not a rationale. It's not. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They're just saying shit. Rich Paul is just straight up saying shit. And he's telling every reporter, he's being like, I'm fine. Do you believe this? I'm saying it. Do I believe it? Is anyone buying it? And it's just like making it worse and worse. And I hope that Ben fires him because he's not doing a good job. It's not succeeding in what it's just making him look like an idiot. Like he's making whoever's leaking the stuff is making Ben look like an idiot. I don't think Ben is like texting Kyle Neubeck and Keith Pompey and Woj or whoever. It's like people around him, Tom Moore, whoever's thinking whatever. And so like someone deserves to be fired on that end. And so or if he believes it, then that's just ridiculous. So
this is an all-star performance from you today.
It's not good.
Ben Simmons is a loser and Rich Paul is an idiot. This is the biggest loser idiot shit I think I've ever seen.
Justice for Nerlens.
This is what a fucking loser thing to just. Yes, there were a couple of comments after the last game that were not the greatest, but to like pull this shit is just truly the saddest loser shit I think I've ever seen. And Rich Paul, like, just thinking his dick is bigger than it is and swinging it. Like, you can't tell everybody that this guy is Anthony Davis or James Harden. Nobody believes it. This is
it worked before, because the thing that he's done has worked before, and so it looked like, and he can make it happen. But like Ben's straight up not as good as those guys. I think he could become close to that level. He hasn't, and after the last series that he had, league wide, everyone's just like, I'm not breaking the bank to trade for this guy.
No, why would it like?
And it's maybe not smart to demand to do the trade request publicity stuff after the worst series of his life.
Yes,
like maybe not the best. After I have like the worst, after I turn in like the worst draft of all time on fucking Young Rock, I'm not going in there being like, give me a raise. Like that's a bad idea. I would do it after I do a good thing, not immediately after turning in the worst draft of all time that was like televised for some reason and memed about. Not gonna happen.
It's just fucking sad. And he's backed himself into they've all backed themselves into corners. And now
the corner, I don't know how much corner is left.
Right.
We're just like folding into a corner. We're a piece of origami, just like folding in on itself in several corners. And I don't know how it's possible, but they keep going. And it's just, there's going to be another thing in a day and a half. There's going to be another insane story. Kyle got the last one. Who's going to the next one? Probably, maybe it's Sixers Adam. Maybe Sixers Adam gets the next story. That'd be nice.
Come on, Adam.
He gets the story about like whatever insane rationale gets pitched here. Like, I am a guy that believes in Ben Simmons as a basketball player. I'd say a lot more than most. But like the way that this has been handled and the rationale they're using is just absolutely ridiculous.
Lame, goofy bullshit. And like, what do they? And the Sixers now are in a position. First of all, they picked the wrong fucking dude. Like they picked the wrong guy with Morey at this particular time with this particular situation. Because, and by the way, thank you to Daryl Morey for donating. I don't know how much he donated because it was hidden, but donated to our Bark in the Park team supporting Providence Animal Center. Thank you, Daryl Morey. Thank you, Ted, Steve, somebody who named themselves Ben Simmons. It wasn't Ben Simmons. But they back Morey into a corner. Here's the problem, like Rich, is that like Morey has to try to win a championship here. There's no long runway. There's a couple, 2-3 years. They got to try to do this. And now the entire league is watching. Everyone's watching. And you try to make him look fucking dumb in public. And you're trying to fuck up the value of the one that a thing he needs to trade. And like they put him in a bad spot. And like it's just this awful game of chicken where Ben Simmons is a fucking loser and Rich Paul's an idiot. I just can't even believe this. I can't even believe it.
I should say, I meant to say this. My episode of Doogie Kamealoha MD, which is shockingly somehow, again, a basketball episode. And it is out now on Disney Plus.
There you go.
Came out today. So watch that. I would say I was really concerned. I might have said this too many times, like in the writer's room. I was like, so many examples. There's so many examples of really bad basketball in television, like really, really bad, horribly produced basketball. Obviously, Fresh Prince is like the example of one. I thought I don't like to say this too loud, but I thought that the basketball episode in Atlanta was horrendous. I thought it was really like an embarrassing display of like, this is what basketball looks like. It wasn't good. But there's more examples than that. Obviously, Atlanta's a great show, but that was not their best. And so I was worried about it, but it looks great. And Randall Park directed it, and he's awesome. And he's also in it, and it looks cool. It's dope. So watch my episode of Doogie on Disney Plus right now.
The T-shirt reprint vote. Let's make it. It's brought to you by Stateside. I'm drinking Black Label Bourbon, Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official vodka of the Ricky, official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter. It is gluten-free. It is filtered 7 times. It is kosher. It is made in Philadelphia. It is gettable at statesidevodka.com. First order always gets one of these great rocks glasses. So we are going to reprint one old Ricky shirt. The vote goes until Friday. There have been 4 or 5 shirts that have emerged as favorites, but you have one more day, really, day and a half to vote, and then we will reprint one of them. Mike, do you want to guess I'll give you 3 guesses to see if you can get one of the 4 or 5 that is currently in the lead, if you would like. The 4 or 5 front runners. Few guesses. Until you get one.
I'm guessing that the Sharp shirt is in there.
The Sharp shirt is not one of the top 4 or 5 currently.
Okay. All right.
I would have liked it because I would have liked to reprint that shirt. That's guess number 1.
Probably one of the Imagine shirts is in there.
Correct. One of the Imagine shirts is in there. So there you go. Imagine Joel is in there, the Lennon one. So
that's very nice. Is the City Line DJ Fridays in there?
No, that shirt's still sort of available. There's still stock of that one. So we put it up on the thing, but you can go to the store and get that one. So
classy looking shirt.
Is a great shirt. Yeah. I think that one was one of the ones that was really of the moment, like to get what the reference was, because those jerseys will be forgotten. So Mailbag.
Did you see the I don't know if it's official or not. I haven't seen an official one, but Charles Bassey tweeted the new Sixers jersey, the whatever, I don't know what it's called, with the Spectrum panels on the side. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks like genuinely very, very cool.
Honestly, I think it's the first good alternate jersey they've done in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, honestly. I would like to see it full before I give an official opinion, but judging by what it is with the Spectrum panel, like it looks like it has a good combination of new and old while still not being like too much. I think sometimes like
the retro
jerseys
stuff
will be like, hey, this is a really esoteric reference that just looks crazy if you don't know it. About like a team or a city or whatever it is. And it's like, I don't know enough about Milwaukee to like know why there's like this weird thing on the jersey. It doesn't make sense to me. But the Sixers So it has to have like a combination of it just looks good and you don't need the context. And then with the context, it's like, oh, that's cool. But if it doesn't accomplish on the front end, then it just looks stupid. And I think this one does a good job of both.
I agree. From Ben, Mailbag, writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. Writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. One basketball, one non-basketball if you send us a note. This comes from Ben. Basketball question. As annoying and maddening as the Ben Simmons situation has been for the Sixers and their fans, it seems like the entire ordeal has long-term ramifications for the NBA as a whole. I'm a pretty big soccer fan, and I've been thinking a bit about how player loans work in the wide world of international club soccer. Basically, a player can be under contract with one club, but loaned to another team for a set amount of time. This is done usually when a young, promising player needs minutes on the field, but their position on the current team is occupied by a veteran who's slightly better. Or the player is really good, but is on a lower division team. Could something like this work in the NBA? Hear me out. In Ben's case, he obviously doesn't want to play for the Sixers anymore, but the Sixers basically need him to play to rebuild his trade value. If some sort of loan system was incorporated in the NBA, the Sixers could loan him to another team for a couple of games, weeks, months. He could play with another team, prove his worth. From there, that team he's loaned to could have first dibs on making an offer for him. The Sixers front office could make a deal at any point if any other team makes a good trade offer. Ben has 2 great games in a row. Boom. Great offer from Portland lands on Daryl's desk. I'm sure there would be loan fees and other things regarding who pays the salary, but that could all be worked out. What do you think, Mike?
I think that's crazy. I don't think it makes any sense. Like
But sort of like what the G League is on some level,
but it's different when it's an all-star level player.
Yeah,
being like if he gets hurt on like the Wizard because of the Wizards medical staff, then like what happens? Whereas like in G League, it's like well, they're young or not that good anyway, so it's probably fine. As opposed to if some all-star level player, it seems like crazy complicated and rife with problems.
Yeah, there are all sorts of problems. And I know people love Premier League, but like all that shit, there's a lot of problems with how that entire business is run.
By the way, just like loaning a player feels is very strange to me.
Well,
it's like on loan. It's not like they're not like a car. You know,
some players like cars, I guess. I don't know. Wasn't Elton's nickname a car, or wasn't he like the old Cadillac or something?
Old school Chevy. Yeah, that's
old school Chevy. There we go.
A little bit different.
Yeah. So his non-basketball question is fantastic. We'll get to it in a second. Body Bio, sponsor of the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast, supplements for a healthier life. It's important if you're taking supplements, first of all, that you trust the company. Body Bio, I trust because I know them. They're not some big giant corporation, locally owned, family operated. What's important about that is that science is changing every single day. And when you're a smaller company like that, but smart, you can be nimble, you can change. That's why Body Bio is great. We've told you about Elite, told you about Calm. We will tell you about Butyrate, which will make your gut better. Tell you about vitamin C, liposomic vitamin C. Don't take those vitamin C supplements that you take. You put it in the water. You take, however many milligrams of vitamin C, a bazillion milligrams of vitamin C. Then when you pee later, it's bright orange because you're peeing it all out because it's water soluble. Even vitamin C in foods is water soluble. Your body's not hanging on to it. Vitamin C is important for your immune system, for your health. So Body Bio made liposomic vitamin C. And what it does is the vitamin C does not release until it gets to your cells. Your cells are made of lipids. So this vitamin C hangs on, stays solid until it gets to your cells. So your body takes in more of the vitamin C. So forget about the milligrams. It's taking in all the milligrams. RTRS 20, bodybio.com. RTRS 20, bodybio.com. Get 20% off everything at Body Bio. Try it, learn it, love it. Thanks to Body Bio Mike, Body Bio Jess, not Jeff, Jess. I'm sure there's a Body Bio Jeff somewhere. RTRS 20 is the code, bodybio.com. All right. Speaking of gut health, this is the non-basketball question. If you dropped your phone in a porta potty and it was still sitting on the top of the pile of wet toilet paper, pee, and poop, would you retrieve it? If yes, how far would it have to be submerged before you wouldn't make an attempt at rescuing it? Thank you guys. Appreciate everything you do.
I think my first instinct
is to grab it, right?
Is to grab it. I still have the like first instinct of like a person that doesn't have any money. Like I still my immediate thing is like, I'll never be able to get this back. I'll never be able to do this. I have to do this by myself. But like I've made a little bit of money and that's good. I've been very lucky. And so like I could just get it replaced and I wouldn't have to do that. And so I'm like, hang on a second. I don't help yourself. The phone's gone. It belongs to the poop now. Step away. And so I hope that that thought process would be like, okay, I just won't I'll cancel a couple dinners or something. I won't go out to dinner for a couple weeks. Would take over. And I can be like, but it might not. I might just, my hand might be like, we'll never get another phone. It might just be over.
I would grab the poop phone. I'll never forget when I was living in Chicago 15 years ago, I dropped a phone in a toilet as I was peeing in it. And I stuck my hand in that toilet so quickly. And not only can you replace it, like I can replace it financially as well. I'm lucky enough to do that. But the way that everything's backed up, it's not like you'll lose your contacts or your information or anything. Like you could just get a new phone and it will all be on that phone. I would grab the poop phone. I'm sad to say. This comes from Dan. Hope you're well. I have some questions. Number one, Mike Scott is 33. Do you think he will ever play in another NBA game?
Yes.
I would also say yes. I love Mike Scott. If he would like to be the third member of the Ricky, rotate in for me and Mike, I'd love to have Mike Scott.
That'd be great. That would make this podcast. He'd be so good at it.
Do you want me to I should get him on. We should get him on.
I feel like it'd be tough for him if he doesn't have a team. I feel like that's like not like a bright place for him to do this kind of thing. But I think someone will shoot him a 10-day here or there.
Yeah. And number two, another sort of bathroom question. Would Mike be able to list the top 10 foods that have, quote, ravaged his body? and then afterwards, if you would like to list them, I will get, he is the person who edited together, actually, as you're thinking of the times that have, the foods that have ravaged your body, from the last podcast, Dan was able to do this for us.
Soup. Lunch soup.
Yeah, soup.
A snoop. Soup is bullshit, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
There we go.
That's good. I enjoyed that. That was a nice time. I don't think I've ever heard myself in a supercut. That's good.
So what are the top 10 foods that have ravaged your body?
Oh, it's not that like those many like separate things. I used to joke in high school that there was like a regular pizza place type of place by where I grew up that I would joke that I should just eat the wings on the toilet and just because just to save everybody the time. Mm-hmm. So it's like those kinds of things. I love spicy foods but the rest of me doesn't. So it's those kinds of things. Spicy foods and cheese, like all various things, whether it's like, some friggin' carbonara, that'll make quick work down there. I think there's, some kinds of like, very wet Mexican food when it's like too much liquid in stuff. When like you take the bag and you like take the bag home and it's just like a pool of liquid at the bottom. What's that doing there? Occasionally like a Korean barbecue or something. It's so that's tough, but I enjoy it all. I enjoy that stuff, and I love Indian food. I'm new to Indian food because I always stayed away from it because of my nut allergy, and I was just like too scared to like really try. But
it's
over
awesome.
the last like 2 years, I've dove in, and that's it is what it is. But I love it, and I take the chance, and I make sure I don't have anywhere to be.
Got to get yourself some naan. Oh, come on. Indian food is fucking awesome. I actually, last night, I wanted to watch the Yankee playoff game, but it was on at 8:00. and those American League games are 7 hours long. So I pushed off dinner till 9 p.m. and I ordered Thai food. And again, I have a generally strong stomach, but this morning, you ever just like finish in the bathroom and then you walk out and you're like, nope, not done. You got to turn around. And it happened like
every day.
Yeah.
It's every day of my life. Every single day of my goddamn life, Spike.
Soup.
Soup. Lunch soup.
Yeah, soup.
Snoop. A soup.
A Snoop. Soup. Soup is bullshit, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That's what the people are coming for.
All right. One more email. Man, we have so many bathroom emails. Scary. Hi, this comes from Matt. Hi, Spike and Mike. Scary basketball question, but I'm interested in your thoughts. What happens if Joel Embiid suffers a serious injury before Ben Simmons is traded? Does Simmons' value go up based on need, down because the Sixers would potentially be tanking and not care anymore? Or in an even messed up world, does Simmons now come back to finally, quote, get his team?
I hate that question. I hate that world.
I think wonder the Sixers would tank at that point.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think that's the answer. I wonder if Ben would show up. That's also weird.
Oh my God, if he
was like rooting for Embiid to get that, would be very bizarre. But he is supposedly one of the excuses in the war is that he wants his own team. So I guess that would indicate it would be his, but I really hope that doesn't happen.
Snoop.
It's a Snoop. It's a total Snoop situation.
And then Matt's non-basketball question. Since the podcast has also become a bathroom pod, I saved the best for last year. What is the proper etiquette? I can't do this. I can't do it. What is the proper etiquette if you poop out of the home? And
Should I read it? You want me to read it?
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like 3 questions down in the mailbag.
Okay.
From Matt. Okay.
I got it. What's the proper etiquette if you poop out of the home and get streaks along the side of the toilet when flushing? Do you flush repeatedly to try to clear stains for the next person? Do you leave them as is for subsequent users to suffer through? I think the answer is get yourself some of those like things to scrub it with. I forget what they're called, but you can like use one to like sort of clean the sides and everything, make sure there's no streakage. And then you throw it out. Use it one time, not a multi-use thing. You're not trying to use something that you already used in the toilet.
Or you just got to get a bunch of paper, flush, and when the water is down, you gotta clean. You can't.
Yeah, that's quick. That's a hustle. That's a hustle play, and then it's an immediate hand wash anyway. But it's still not something you're excited about. Yeah, for sure.
All right. As Zach says, Daryl. He says, Daryl, are you also listening live? If so, what's up, dude? Daryl, save us from this. Please make the trade. We're going to become a bathroom pod. Oh, my God. All right. We will talk to you this weekend. There's another game on Thursday night. Maybe it'll be better. Seems like Embiid and Harris are going to play. That's what Doc said. He said he thought they were going to play. So that would be good. We are going to leave you with another War on Drugs song from their new album, which comes out October 29th, called I Don't Live Here Anymore. We leave you with Living Proof. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. Lickface. And shout out to the Chicago Sky for making the NBA Finals. That's pretty dope. War on Drugs. Let's go.
But I'm rising.